Hi guys, welcome to Sunny Spark Learning. I had to change the previous name because it is oversaturated on YouTube. So yeah, this is the new name. You have to get used to it. Okay, now let's get down to business. Today we're dealing with retained income node for grade 12s. First of all, you need to understand what a retained income is and what it means in the company. So the word retain simply means keep. Then the meaning of this retained income, it means retained income represents the portion of the company's net profit that is kept or retained within the business instead of it being paid out as dividends to shareholders. So this is the amount of money. Think of it as the company's accumulated savings that have been doubling over the years from the company's operations. And please do not complicate this one with the net profit after tax, which is from the income statement, because the net profit after tax, it's used to measure the performance, while retained income is used to measure the accumulation of the savings. Okay, now let's get down to business. And another thing, when doing retained income node, you have to understand you have to know the structure of the node before attempting it. Because if you don't know the structure, there's no way you are going to ace the retained income node. Okay, so let's read the information first. Question 1.2. It says refer to information A. Okay, let me do like this. It says refer to information A, B, and C to prepare the following on the year ending. The year ends on 28 February 2025. Okay. Now, since in this video we're dealing with the retained income node, we are going to be focusing on the second bullet point. Okay, so let's get down to the information. Information A is tangible assets. So with retained income node, retained income node doesn't have anything to do with the tangible assets. We are only dealing with the shares, the net profit after tax, and the balances. So here, information B, we have retained income here. They gave us 298,000, and in bracket it says 1st March 2024. So they told us that the year ended 2025 on 28 February. So we already know that the year started on 1st March. Which year? 2024. So we know that usually our the trial balance shows balances at the end of the year. But here on the retained income, they emphasized inside the brackets that the amount you see here is for 1st of March 2024, the beginning of the financial year. Okay, now let's get to the transactions. Since we are going to be dealing with okay, first of all, you need to know what is included in the retained income node. At the beginning, we have the balance at the beginning, we have the net profit after tax, we have the repurchase of shares, we have the ordinary share dividends, which includes interim dividends and final dividends, and lastly, we have the balance at the end of the year. So I showed you on the trial balance that we already have the balance at the beginning of the year is 298,000. Now let's look for information regarding the net profit after tax. So with the information regarding the net profit after tax, we have on Roman figure 5, a further 108,400 is owed for income tax. Okay, we'll get to this one as we progress. Then another one, Roman figure 8. It says income tax for the year was calculated at 32% of the net profit before tax. Remember, we are looking for net profit after tax. Okay. Then Roman figure 9 has got all the information regarding the repurchase of shares, issuing of shares at the beginning, shares at the end, the information that you'll need to complete the income, the retained income note. Okay, the first point says Yamihle Ltd is authorized to issue 2 million ordinary shares. This means that Yamihle Ltd is allowed to issue 2 million ordinary shares, no more than that. It cannot issue 2,500,000 shares because it is limited to 2 million ordinary shares. Okay, second point says ordinary shares were repurchased at 90,400 above average price. Okay, with this one, the word above average price might be, some of you might not understand what they mean when they say above average price. But to explain it in simple terms, this is the loss. This is the loss amount that occurred when we repurchased the shares back. Because we have repurchase price, we have average price, then we have loss. Repurchase price includes average plus loss. And on the retained income note, we only record the loss amount, which means this one is going to be taken as it is, no calculations needed. Okay. Now, okay, with this one of above average price, I'm going to elaborate more on it when we will be doing the ordinary share capital note and the what is it, and the cash flow statement. Because on the cash flow statement you record the amount of the repurchase price, but on the ordinary share capital note you record the average price. Then on the on the retained income note you record the loss. Okay, let's continue. Bullet number 3 it says bullet number 3 says 20% of the ordinary shares have not been issued at the end of the year, at the year end. Okay, remember the ordinary shares that we must issue is 2 million. Okay, then they say 20% of this 2 million have not yet been issued at the end of the year, which means at the end of the year only 80% of the ordinary shares were issued. Why do I say 80%? I say 80% because this 2 million is 100%. Okay, now when I say, and the information says 20% of these shares were not issued at the end of the year, which means only 80% were issued at the end of the year. Okay, so it means we are going to say 2 million multiplied by 80% to see exactly how much were issued at the end of the year. It's going to give you 1,600,000. Okay, let's leave it like that. Now the last point says a final dividend of 12 cents per share was declared on 28 February 2025. This is at the end of the year, remember, 2025, and must still be brought into account. Okay, this one still need to be taken into consideration. Now let's get down to business. I have analyzed the information for you. Now let's calculate. Okay, For those who don't know, retained income node is node number 8. Node number 8 on the balance sheet. As I said, you need to know the structure of it. So, at the beginning, you have the first one, you have balance at the beginning. Followed by, okay, let's do like this. Followed by net profit. After tax. Followed by repurchase of shares. This is where we will record the loss. Now we have the ordinary share dividends. Which consist of interim dividends and final dividends. Then we have balance at the end. Okay, with interim dividend and final dividend, the difference between these two dividends is that with interim dividends, it is declared and paid during the financial year. But with the final dividends, it is only declared at the end of the year and paid the following year. We know that dividends is the amount of money that we pay to the shareholders of the company. Okay, right, now on the question paper, we've been given some few amounts. First of all, we are given balance at the beginning of the retained income, which is 298,000. You write it, balance at the beginning, 298,000. Then we also have, on the additional information, we also have ordinary shares that were repurchased at 90,400 above average price. Any amount that is above average price is loss. So the loss here is 90,400. We take it as it is. You put it in brackets because whenever the company repurchases back shares, it is an expense to the business. And everything that is an expense to the business, you put it in bracket. So it's 90,400. Then now, let me check the answer sheet. It seems like we've been given an amount for one of the dividends. Okay, we've been given, okay, here it says paid. As I mentioned before, interim dividends are declared and paid during the financial year. Whenever you see the word paid, don't panic. It means interim dividends. So with final, it's only going to say, maybe it might say declared, but in most cases it only says final. So whenever you see the word paid under the ordinary share dividends, just know that it is interim dividends. So they gave us 108 108,000. Going to write it here, 108,000. Okay. Now, what's going on here is that we have to find the amount for net profit after tax. We have to find the final dividend, which will determine the amount for the ordinary share capital. Because to find the ordinary share dividends amount here, you have to say interim dividends plus final dividends. It will give you ordinary share dividends. Okay. Now let's look for what is it? The net profit after tax. Okay, first of all, let's look for the information again. We have, they gave us the percentage of the net profit, of the income tax, which is 32% of the net profit before tax. We know that to reach the net profit after tax on the income statement, we have the net profit before tax. Then it's followed by the income tax, which is in brackets. Then lastly, we have the net profit after tax. What happens is that they take net profit before tax, they minus the income tax to see how much is left after paying everything, including the tax, to SARS. Okay, now Roman figure 5 says a further 108,400 is owed for income tax. Okay, so for that amount of income tax that is included in brackets on the income statement at the end, that is the total tax for the year, which means it includes the tax owed and the provisional tax payments during the year. We have to add them if you have them. Okay. Now, let's look for the provisional payments on the trial balance. There they are. It says SARS income tax, in brackets, provisional tax payments. Remember, provisional tax payments are payments made during the year to SARS. Okay. Then, when they give you information like this one on Roman figure 5 that says a further 108,400, it means the business still owes SARS 108,400. So you need to add it with the one that was paid during the year to see the total that the business had to pay for the whole year. Okay, so now the provisional tax payments is 142,768. Okay, let's calculate it down here. Okay, we have provisional tax payment. Then we have let's just say further owed tax. That the provisional tax payment is 142,768. 142,768. Then the further owed tax is 108,400. Then, as I said, you need to add them to get the total tax that the business had to pay SARS for the year. Then in total, you are going to get 251,168. Okay, so since we don't have the net profit after tax, but we have the income tax for the year, we are going to use this amount as well as that percentage they gave us of 32% to get the net profit after tax. So you are going to open a bracket here and say 251, you write the income tax for the year, 168. You will say multiply by. Why I say multiply? We want to find out, because we don't have net profit before tax, and we don't have net profit after, but we have income tax for the year, we have the percentage. It is possible to find both the missing figures, the net profit before and the net profit after, but in this case we are looking for after. So since they gave us 32%, they say, for those who don't know, this amount, this tax for the amount represents that 32%. Okay, so it means when it comes to calculating the net profit after tax, you are going to say 100% minus 32%. You are going to get 68%. Okay, now this 68% represents the amount of net profit after tax that we don't know. Then we have the amount that we know, which is 32%. When you come to your node again, you are going to say 251,168 multiplied by 68 divided by 32. Why are we writing it this way? We are writing it this way because, as you know, this is a fraction, right? And the fraction, the the upper amount is the numerator and the bottom one is the denominator. In accounting, whenever we have a missing figure and an available figure, and the figures concerns percentages, you write the one that we have at the bottom, which is the denominator. In this case is the 32. Then the unknown one, you write it on the above, which is the numerator. Okay, so in this case I said this 251,168 represents the 32%. So this one, this 68, we don't know it, that is why we put it on top. That is the one we are looking for. We want to know how much it is. Okay, then the 32, we know it, it's fine, we put it on the bottom. Always don't make a mistake. Okay, so when you calculate them, they must give you 533,732. Okay, so for you to prove this one, okay, before I say prove, this amount, this 533,732 is the net profit after tax. Now let's prove it. Let's get net profit before using this amount and the income tax amount. Proving it, you are going to say, let me do it down here. You are going to say 533,732 plus 251,168. Then you are going to get 784,900. Okay, with the sign, I said plus because whenever we are going backward, let's say we have a positive amount, which is the 533,732. Okay, then the income tax, in this case, on the income statement, it is a negative amount as it is put in the bracket. Okay, when we go up to look for the net profit before tax, we must add the one in bracket, but when we go down, we minus the one in bracket. Now that we are going up to look for the net profit before, you are going to add, you are going to do the opposite of what you are going to do when you are going down. Okay, which is the addition. Now you add them, they give you 784. Now this 784 is the net profit before tax. Now if you were given this before and you are given the tax amount, then you are looking for the net profit after, you are going to say 784 minus 251 minus this amount, then it was going to give you 533,732. So this thing is just the same thing, but you use the opposite methods here. Okay, now we are not on this case. Now we found the net profit after tax. Now we have to look for the total of these ordinary share dividends, because we are given a question mark, we don't know it. Finding this one, we must find the final dividend before. Okay, let's go back to the question paper. Now this information, Roman figure 9, has got all the information we are going to need. Okay, first of all, look at the first point. It says Yamihle Ltd is authorized to issue 20 million ordinary shares. Okay, that one we dealt with it, we calculated it. Okay, now the 20% of the ordinary shares, this is the one that has not been issued at the end of the year. Okay, it means only 80% was issued. Then we calculated, we got 1,600,000. Okay, with this 1,600,000, since they said they said 20% of these were not issued at the end of the year. Okay, end of the year. And remember, final dividends are only declared at the end of the year. Okay, so whenever you see information of ordinary shares at the end of the year, where they talk about at the end of the year, just know that this information is regarding the final dividends, even though you are not required to calculate any final dividends. Okay, so here we are going to take this one, the one that we calculated using the 80%. It is the one that we are going to use on the retained income. Why? Because we are looking for final dividends, and final dividends are declared at the end of the year. And this 80% was declared at the end of the year. I mean, was issued at the end of the year. Okay, now as it goes further, it says a final dividend of 12 cents per share was declared on 28 February. This is also at the end of the year, 28 February 2025. Okay, so this explains to us that you are going to need this 80% or this 1,600,000 in order to get final dividends. You are going to need also these 12 cents to get the final dividend. Okay, now let's take the 1,600,000. I'm right here. 1,600,000 as well as the 12 cents and see what we are going to get. Okay, so here you are also going to open a bracket. You will say 1,600,000. You write the shares that were issued at the end of the year, which is 1,600,000 that we got after calculating using the 80%. Okay, then you multiply by, they said they are, let me check the information again. They said the final dividends per share was declared 12 cents per share. Okay, per share, which means one share earns 12 cents. Okay, so you're going to say 12 over 100. Okay, because 100 cents makes 1 rand. Okay, so in the 1 rand we are looking for 12 cents. So that is why we are saying 12 over 100. Okay, so you are going to get 1,600,000 multiplied by so when you do the calculations, you must get 192. Let me use a different a white color. You are going to get 192,000. Okay guys, those of you who have made it this far, please drop a like, follow and subscribe for more content like this. Okay, please. Then let's continue. Now that we got the final dividends and also the interim dividends, we must add these two to get the ordinary share dividends. Okay, now when you add them, you must get 300,000, and it must also be in brackets. Why do we put the dividends in brackets? Because dividends are also referred to as, I will say, to put it in simple terms, I will say the expenses, because we are paying the dividends to the shareholders. The money is going out of the business. Okay, so simple as that. Now, in order to get the final answer here, in order to get the balance at the end, you will say balance at the beginning. Okay, let me just the color. Okay, you're going to say balance at the beginning plus net profit after tax. Okay, what's in bracket? You minus. Okay, let me write it like this for a clear direction. You're going to say net profit after tax, balance at the beginning plus net profit after tax minus repurchase of shares minus 300,000. Now, since this 300,000 includes these two, you are not considering them because you took a total of them. Then it will give you the final answer. Okay, let me calculate. Guys, as I am calculating, you must as well calculate, because at the end of the day, you are the ones who must benefit. Okay, so if I'm the one who are making the calculations and you are not, it means I'm the one who is going to understand this information more, because I am the one who is putting effort. But if you just watch the videos, you do nothing, you're not practicing, there's nothing that you're going to get, or nothing that you're going to understand. Okay, so let's calculate. Okay, final balance at the end, you must get 441,332. It's 441,332. Okay, this is the final answer. Okay, now to summarize all of this, let me cancel these calculations here. To summarize all of this, but a retained income note, it has balance at the beginning, which sometimes we get it on the trial balance, sometimes they don't give you at the trial balance, you have to find it yourselves. Okay, in this case we have it. Then it's the net profit after tax. It's a positive number. We add it with the balance at the beginning because profit is the amount of money that is retained. Okay, that is left after paying all the expenses of the business or the company. Then we minus the repurchase of shares, because whenever the business repurchases shares, it is the expense of the business because money is going out. Okay, then we have the ordinary share dividends, which includes interim dividends and final dividends. We put the amount for dividends in brackets because money is going out as we pay the shareholders. Okay, then the final answer is the sum of all of these columns. The balance at the beginning, you add the net profit after tax, you minus the repurchase of shares, minus the ordinary share dividends, then you get the answer, the balance at the end. Okay, but sometimes they can give you a balance at the end and not give you balance at the beginning. So let me show you how you deal with this one. Whenever you get balance at the end and you are not given the balance at the beginning, you will say balance at the end. Remember, this one you don't check them because the final answer of them is the 300,000. Okay, you will take the balance at the end. When you go up, when you were going down, you were minusing the ones in bracket and adding the ones that don't have brackets. Now when you go up, it's the opposite. You take the balance at the end, you add the ones in brackets, then minus the ones without the brackets. Okay, how are you going to do this? You are going to take the balance at the end. Okay, you add the ones in bracket, the dividends, the repurchase of shares you add, but you will minus the net profit after tax. Then it must give you the same answer that we were given on the question paper. Okay, I forgot the numbers, so I will calculate again. Plus. Okay, it's 298,000. Simple as that. Whenever you go up, opposite of going down, opposite of going up. Okay, this is the end of our video. See you on the next one. And remember guys, I offer online tutoring services. Affordable, it's 80 per subjects. It's 200 for 3 subjects. Reach out to 064 861 6680. Okay, reach out guys for more content like this. And in those tutoring services, we will be doing full question papers, full past question papers. I'll be giving you premium notes, stuff like that guys. Please join. Okay, goodbye, see you in the next one.